all I needed was to sit there in silence, to listen to myself. And my soul, my body, my spirit would start healing on its own. The problem is the society is just too crazy. It's too busy to take a moment of silence and realize, what is it that your soul craves? What is it that you need? Welcome to Holy Chit. I am your host, Kristy Austin. I just want to start off by saying that you are whole. Don't let anyone else try to convince you otherwise. We're also full of holes. I'm speaking out of one of mine right now. So let's get this party started. Chit is a Sanskrit word for consciousness. So my goal in this podcast is to bring awareness to different ways to awaken our consciousness, start on this healing journey together. I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself and my journey, what brought me here, so that since this is the first podcast, I want to share with you myself and who I am, so that you can better get to know me and what brought me on this journey. So my name is Kristy Austin, and most of you know me as Coco Austin's sister. Yes, that is what I get mostly recognized for. It'll be across the street. Hey, Coco sister. And people waving at me. And I love you. I love you for you. I love you. Even though you don't might know my name. It's just Coco sister. I love you. It's either Coco sister or Ice-T's sister-in-law. That's how I'm most well known for. What you don't know, or you may not know, depending on how well you followed my sister, is that my sister and I grew up in California in the industry. Our parents were both entertainers. My mother was one of the very first Rams cheerleaders, and father was on movies like The Cowboys. He was one of the children actors on The Cowboys with John Wayne. And my parents actually met on the set of Bonanza. So we grew up in this crazy industry. And my sister and I dabbled in a little bit of modeling, did some commercials. We started a dance group when we were in our teens called Smooth Edges. We thought we were very cool. We travel around. At this time, we lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we traveled around places like the beach at It's a Teen Thing, and we performed. So we liked performing. But ultimately, my goal in life, the only thing I ever dreamt of, was being a mom and being a wife. To me, there was no bigger honor than being a mother and a wife. So I had my first child at 19 and got married, had 4 children, and I was living blissfully happy, blissfully in the illusion of the hologram that I was projecting. And when that veil lifted, my world crumbled. I no longer knew who I was, what my purpose was. It was a low point in my life where, thank God, I have the family that I have and the support system that I have. I showed up at my mom's house, mascara running down my face, kids crying, saying, "Can you let us in? I'm homeless, I'm carless, I'm jobless, I have an infant child, I have twin toddlers, and I have a teenage son. We're all standing at your door. Will you let us in? I'm a mess." They're all crying. It's in the middle of the summertime in Arizona, so we're all sweaty, cry, a complete mess. So my mom, of course, she let us in, and I had to pick up the pieces. I have 2 amazing friends, Jen and Liz, who I adore. I met them because our children all go to school together, and they showed up with peanuts and wine. And we sat there and just cried together. They let me just cry and cry and cry as we ate peanuts and drank wine. And I remember Jen telling me, Kristy, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing on your own? So I love, dancing around the house with my kids. No, not with your kids. Why I like going to the movies with my husband? No, not with your husband. Kristy, what does Kristy like doing? What does Kristy enjoy doing? I was stumped. Me? I'm no one without my kids or my husband. What do you mean me? Like, I couldn't even answer that. I had no answer to that. You mean to tell me I have to figure out who I am without my children? Now my children are going to be with their father half the time. I have to figure out who I am without my kids. It was a turning point for me, a turning point where I had to find myself. And let me tell you, when I say low point, I've had low points in my life. I couldn't walk for 3 months after I had my first son because I broke my tailbone. That was a low point. I can go on and on with stories, but this was my lowest point. When you walk out of your house with the clothes on your back, you don't bring a backpack, your car breaks down because it was tampered with. So you're walking to your parents' house in 120-degree weather, and you're crying. And you're a mess. You're homeless. You're jobless. You're carless, and you don't know what to do or where to go. That's definitely a low point. So I started taking these hikes. And if you live in Arizona, you know that the Arizona weather can be brutal, but it can also be very powerful. So I started taking these hikes, and I chose Camelback Mountain because it's a well traveled hiking trail. And since I was doing these hikes on my own, I wanted to make sure if anything were to happen to me, someone would stumble upon me. So I would take these hikes, get to the top of the mountain, and I would stretch, and I'd sit there in silence, and I'd listen to the birds chirp, and I'd feel the breeze on my face. And someone saw me one time and they said, "Oh, doing a little yoga and meditation, huh?" I go, no, I'm just stretching. No, I'm just feeling the breeze and listening to the birds. And they go, "Yeah, read the 5,000 Vedas." I went home, I read it, and I realized that my soul was craving this. It knew exactly what I needed to heal. All I needed was to sit there in silence, to listen to myself. And my soul, my body, my spirit would start healing on its own. The problem is the society is just too crazy. It's too busy to take a moment of silence and realize, what is it that your soul craves? What is it that you need? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna learn more about this yoga and meditation. Up to this point, I had just taken yoga at the gym. It was just a workout, right? But it became more for me. It became my saving grace. It opened me up to a whole new way of looking at things, seeing things, feeling a whole new way of doing things. So I decided, okay, well, what am I going to do now? This business that I had spent years creating, now I'm letting it go. So I used to be a dance teacher. I can start dancing again, right? Start teaching dance again. I thought, no, if I'm going to teach something, I want to teach something that I'm passionate about. And right now, that's yoga. So I went to Costa Rica to do my first not Kundalini Yoga. That was one of my trainings, but not my first. I've done many yoga trainings since my first. The first training was Hatha Yoga in Costa Rica. And I remember my teacher saying, You have to pick a style of yoga and become an expert at that. Remember, that didn't sit very well with me because there's hundreds of different styles of yoga, and so many of them spoke to me. And I realized that on any given day, we needed something different. It wasn't always the same thing. It wasn't always the same style. It's not always the same mantra. It's not always the same breathing technique. So I took training after training after training, and I felt this shift in me when I took acro yoga training. And the reason for that is because I have felt for most of my life this huge weight on my chest, hands around my throat, not able to breathe or speak my truth. I felt so many thoughts. I thought so many thoughts and had so many feelings. I just couldn't express them or put them into words. Or I felt like when I did try, nobody heard me. Nobody understood me. I would just get laughed at or made fun of. Kristy's just some weirdo. So I stopped speaking. I stopped sharing. But when you're in acro yoga, you can't stop speaking. If you stop speaking, if you stop communicating with your partner, you stumble all over each other and it's a big mess.
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candace Barr, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
So you have to learn how to use your vocal cords. You have to learn how to communicate. Put your right hand on your left knee, slowly release that left hip up, squeeze that core. You have to use your voice. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So that was a challenge for me, but it was a pivotal turning point in my career. And after that, partner yoga, acro yoga, the universe opened up. Kundalini Yoga teacher training, which is one of the first trainings I wanted to go to, but I didn't want to leave the country for it. And there wasn't one in my state. Well, I found one in my state, and it opened up a whole new world of different healing modalities, just not postures. But the people that I came into contact with were showing all different kinds of healing modalities. So down the rabbit hole I went. Through Kundalini Yoga, you combined mudras, mantras, dristis, which is eye gaze. You look different eye gazes, mudras, different hand postures like that you can use that help you go deeper into whatever it is that you're trying to do. There's kriyas, which are different postures. It combines so many different things that I was like, okay, to this day, it's still my daily go-to practice. And Kundalini Yoga, if you don't know, it's the one where they wrap their head in white. They wear all white and crystals, covered in crystals. And, so you might look at them and go, oh, those are some weird yogis over there. Yeah, that's me. I'm the weird yogi. I like dressing in white and wear a bunch of crystals. I'm not home today. Otherwise, I would have my crystals on me right now, but I don't. Anyway, I had this one teacher in Kundalini Yoga, 85 years old. I love her to death, Sangeet, who spoke to me. Like whenever she spoke, it hit my soul. And so I thought, whatever this woman teaches, I want to learn. So I took anything that she had to offer above and beyond Kundalini Yoga. She did a numerology course. I learned all about numerology. She did Reiki. I learned all about Reiki. And then there was a 6-month sound healing course offered. And oh my goodness, that's when I learned about frequencies and how powerful frequencies are. And this might have to be another topic on its own because I could go on about frequencies, how powerful they are. We spent each month learning a different instrument. The first month was the gong, then there was the crystal bowls, there was the drum, the didgeridoo, our voices. Oh my God, our voice is one instrument you always have with you. so you can utilize it, do different sound movements to help balance out your chakras. Why do you think that when you go in the shower and you sing in the shower, you come out and you feel great? That's because you're healing yourself in the shower using your vocal cords and singing and getting those good vibrations in. It's so powerful. Most people underestimate the power of frequency. And I learned about it and its power. And when I tell you I learned about it, I went so deep. My partner, on the month that we were doing the sound portion with our voices, we practiced on each other, go around their bodies making different sounds. And I remember like closing my body, and the person who raised his hand, he was like, "You want to be my partner?" I'm like, "Sure." He had Parkinson's. So I'm practicing on him. All I know is I had my eyes closed. I came to one point and I just heard, I don't even remember what sound I was making. All I could hear was woo, woo, woo. It felt like I was in a tunnel. Afterwards, he was the first person who raised his hand and was like, does anyone see that I'm no longer shaking? I didn't even notice that. I'm like, what? When did that happen? But it shows you the power of frequency. So I'm learning all these techniques. I'm healing myself. Now the universe is bringing more and more people into my life that I can have these conversations with, and I'm not looked at like I'm crazy. Like they think like me. They understand. They are on the same path and journey as me. The thing is, I'm now supporting 7 people, house of 7 people, and single mom, and the breadwinner of the house, and being a healer, which is what I consider myself. I consider myself a healer, yoga instructor, all that other fancy stuff, but I'm a healer. That doesn't really pay the bills like some other things do, right? So I'm starting to question, is this even really the path that I'm meant to go down? And then just this beginning of this year, I went to Contact in the Desert with my dad. Now, Contact in the Desert, if you don't know, it's extraterrestrial conversations. A bunch of different speakers talk about different things, even AI, and just have a bunch of different panels. I went there with my dad to be there with family. I also have my aunt there, and my dad's girlfriend, and a couple other people. And I went there to just be with them, be there with family, enjoy these conversations. I didn't care what lectures we went to, whatever they wanted to go to, I was on board with. And we go there in this auditorium of hundreds of people, and there's 6 speakers on the panel. And this is like, they'd have a conversation and they'd all talk about it. And up until this point, my dad knows me as a yogi. He doesn't really understand the whole frequency thing, the healer thing. Like, he knows I collect crystal bowls and my gong and all these instruments I'm collecting more and more of, but I don't think he'd really consider me a healer, or does he really understand what I do? But what he doesn't know is that whenever I'm with him, I'm always giving him healing energy. I always open myself up, use me as a vessel for healing energy to whoever I'm with. But with my dad's health issues that he had going on, especially whenever I'm next to him. So he's sitting right next to me. We're watching this panel of speakers, and I just do my little prayer, use me as a vessel, healing energy for my dad. I put my hand on his shoulder, and just for a few minutes, and then I put my hand down and I'm watching the panel, but yet I'm still flowing that energy through my dad, just as I always do with whoever's with me. And as I'm leaving, this tall gentleman stops me and he says, "Excuse me, do you mind if I tell you something?" I say, "Of course." He goes, "I'm a contactee. Years ago when I was contacted, I was given a gift of sight. And part of the agreement is that I share what I see. It does some kind of karmic healing within me." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "I don't know if you know this, but you are a very powerful healer. If you are not consciously utilizing this, you should be." He says, "I'm sitting there in the auditorium and I feel this very powerful energy. And I'm looking at the panel trying to figure out who it's coming from. Then all of a sudden I saw this light shine on you. I realized it was coming from you. He said, you were actually zapping the hell out of the guy sitting next to you the entire time. I don't know if you know that, realize that or not. And I said, yes, that was conscious, because in my head, I said, use me as a vessel for healing energy to my dad. Like, I knew that I was doing that. The fact that he could see it is what got me. That's what I didn't know. Here I'm questioning myself. Maybe I'm going down the wrong path. All these trainings, all this stuff that I'm doing, I shouldn't be doing that. I need to focus on making money for my family of 7. And then this guy's telling me he's seeing what I'm doing. Okay. So I just gave him, I opened my arms. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because I was just questioning myself on whether or not I've been going down the right journey or not. He says, of course. Of course you are. You're a Pleiadian. Pleiadians are all healers. The men are simply there to support you. I go, Pleiadian, where have I heard that before? So I had this drum. There was a booth at the same place where I had looked at this one drum that's had this beautiful picture. It has a painting. The artist that drew on these drums would go into an ayahuasca meditative state, I guess. And when he came out of it, he would draw a picture of each planet that he had visited on a drum. So I was drawn to this drum because I drew a picture that looked almost identical to this picture on this drum when I was 15 years old. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's my picture. And when I turn it around, 444 is my number. I see 444 everywhere. When I turn it around, it says 444. I'm like, okay. So I asked them, what's going on with this drum? And they go, well, this was drawn from the planet Pleiadia. I was like, what? This is the second time I'm hearing this today. The universe is trying to tell me something. So I've decided I'm embracing my gift as a healer. That's why I'm here on this podcast. Yes, I do one-on-one sessions, but it's not even to do the one-on-one sessions. It's to teach you how to heal yourself, because we all have it within. We all have it within ourselves to heal ourselves. It's just learning the right tools and techniques. What works best for you? Is it going to be diet or different foods? Is it going to be dristis or mantras, mudras, different yoga postures? Do you need to have a couple one-on-one sessions to really feel that energy flow and the frequencies, the sound healing of the Tibetan bowls and the crystal bowls placed on you while you're having a healing session? What is going to resonate with you? I feel like this planet is evolving and changing as we speak. This year, I've seen this huge growth of the people around me. I've experienced it within myself, where I just start bursting in tears of gratitude, and not tears of pain, tears of gratitude. This overwhelming feeling, I feel it at the base of my spine, go all the way up, out the crown of my head. And it's just this feeling of gratitude. I'm going, what is this? It's our universe. It's our planet has done this shift. If you feel it, it's because it's real. And I want to help you learn and grow so that we can all evolve together, grow together on this journey of healing and remembering who we are. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I love you. I appreciate you. What can I say? Chit happens. Let's get conscious together. Namaste, Sat Nam. I'll see you next week. Mwah.